Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is a Monday episode where we focus on a specific astrology topic. And today I'm going to share with you a channeled message coming through our astrological energies right now around the rise of the Earthworker. Now, you've probably heard about light workers. This is being shown to me as a subdomain or niche of light workers who are earth workers. You have the ability to work with the earth as it moves through this grand evolutionary cycle. And these energies are being strongly triggered right now, which I'm going to get into and describe because it pertains to the energy of transiting Uranus in Taurus and Sedna in Gemini. So we will discuss what is opening up on the planet in regards to these astrological cycles. But first, let's talk about the energy of an earth worker. So the way this is being presented to me is, first and foremost, it's an energetic calling for certain people to step forward and use their spiritual powers, healing gifts, intuitive wisdom, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, essentially any energy that you feel strong and powerful in, to work with what is moving around the planet at this time. How there are very big storms, weather events, wildfires, movements of the elements that are affecting Gaia, and we as consciousness beings and energy beings have the ability to harness the energy and direct it with intention to work with specific elements. So the term earth worker is someone who feels a strong resonance with that term and feels that their ability to contribute to working with the elements on the planet is necessary. So I'm being shown that earth workers are rising up in their awareness around abilities that we have and also mastery that we've gained, especially from other lifetimes, other dimensions, and other experiences on other planets. That on other planets in our galaxy and even beyond our galaxy, there have been notions of working with the elements as part of your built-in capabilities. And what I'm seeing is that this is part of the next level awakening where more individuals are owning this and stepping into the ability to work with energy through the elements. And so there is a calling here for many people to either gather or work in groups or to do so solo as an individual. There is no wrong way to do this. It's however you feel you can contribute and whatever aligns with you. But it is an awakening power that more people believe in, that there has to be a connection to your belief system in order for this to really feel that you can do it, that you're capable of it, and that you have a knowingness that your energy and your contribution has an effect on the planet in this way. So there's a few things that they're guiding me to share around the energy of the earth worker. This can certainly be abilities that you have felt throughout your lifetime that have been dormant or perhaps active. Maybe you ventured out into the forest and you were able to deeply connect with the pulse and heartbeat of the trees, as well as the roots, and how the roots are essentially the nervous system and the communication system of these beautiful trees. And maybe you felt that from a young age, but you didn't know how to explain it or if it was even real. They're showing me that people could have a certain affinity with one expression of nature. And of course, this could directly relate to what's in your astrology chart. And so this brings me to a basic foundational understanding of the earth worker. The earth worker is able to tune into the four elements on the planet. And as we know, the 4 elements are essential in astrology. We base astrology on the 4 elements, and it relates directly to the 4 elements here on the planet. So in your chart, if you were to notice what you have strongest in elements, you might understand why you feel naturally drawn or pulled to work with that element. Keep in mind, again, there's no wrong way to do this, and maybe this isn't true for you. Perhaps you have a lot of earth in your chart, but you love working with water. Maybe you have a lot of air or fire in your chart, but you're drawn to working with the earth. It's whatever energetically speaks to you, but they're basically saying this is the foundation of energy that you work with. It stems from the 4 elements on the planet and how you're able to harmonize energies with this basic knowledge. And so when we have very strong water events, when there is an intensity of flooding, hurricanes, typhoons, big water movements on the planet, you can harmonize the water not only by calling in the opposite element of earth, but also bringing in the warming influence of fire and the intelligence consciousness of air. When there is a surplus of one element, the other 3 elements are able to be called forth to either dismantle, unravel, home, harmonize, and neutralize the energy in a way that is effective. They're saying that there are many techniques for this, and there's many ways that individuals feel guided to do so. I'm getting the visual of small groups and big groups. I'm getting the visual of online groups and in-person groups. I'm also seeing that there is a collective consciousness at play here that does have an effect as well. And it's part of our rising power in claiming this planet as our own, claiming that we are the caretakers and the steward of the elements on this planet. And even though there are many science experiments that are being conducted, and those science experiments are documented by patents, so there is proof of these science experiments happening, we still have domain over the natural, authentic expression of these energies. There will continue to be artificial influences and science experiments conducted because of how the weather dominates a lot of our experiences on the planet, and that there are multiple agendas in play who want to dominate through weather. And it has been said that when you dominate the weather, you dominate the planet. And so the rise of the Earthworker is the pushback and the understanding that we will not be artificially influenced. We will not give our power away. We will not allow these practices, however they're disguised or however they're manipulated, to be the ones that take over the authentic expression of this planet. That there is a deep honoring of the power of Gaia, her natural abilities, her natural cycles, and her natural systems, and that we're not allowing those authentic experiences to be overtaken, especially to the detriment or harm of beings and consciousness on this planet. And they're showing me not only humans and human life, but mammals, reptiles, vegetation, herbs, the ocean, ice caps. I mean, they're showing me this huge viewpoint of landscapes on our planet and how each one has a place, especially ones that are organically developed. And they're saying this is part of how our planet is naturally designed to evolve and grow through the natural elements. And when there are imposter elements that come in, things that are exaggerated and falsely created for extremes, it basically messes with the pH balance of the planet, with the balance that naturally is needed in order for Gaia to be in a healthy state. And so the rise of the Earthworker is rising in our abilities to work with the 4 elements intentionally and to understand our individual and collective power to do so. Now, they're showing me that we're at a very pivotal time period here based on astrological transits. So we've had Uranus in Taurus since 2018. Taurus is the first earth sign. It is our ability to feel stable and solid on this earth. It connects us to everything we see, feel, and touch on the planet. Taurus is about the 5 senses and how we are 5 sensory beings who are evolving into more senses, of course, but that at our foundational level, we came in with 5 senses that connect harmoniously with the environments on the planet. And that the Taurus energy is meant to bring us peace, harmony. It's meant to be calming and supportive to our nervous systems. The Taurus energy slows us down so that we can literally stop and smell the roses. It's the energy of being able to appreciate what we have, to not feel like we always have to be doing, but rather it allows us as human beings to connect our pulse, our heartbeat, with the beat and pulse of Gaia. That this Taurus energy is so deeply grounded and rooted in the frequency of Gaia that it allows us to feel at home, that we can build a life that suits us, that keeps us grounded and aware of what we need to live a healthy life, and that in fact it's much simpler than we've been taught or programmed to believe. And so the Taurus energy really can appreciate not only the little things and the fine things in life, but can allow us to notice the abundance that naturally exists here, and that we are energetically tuned in to that frequency of abundance as well. Now, with Uranus moving through Taurus since 2018, a lot of this has been destabilized. And in fact, they're showing me that it signifies this awakening within Gaia that occurs every 84 years, which is associated with a transiting Uranus cycle, and that Taurus energy is waking up to more, because that Taurus energy can be quite stagnant and settled. It can be in the comfort zone. I don't want to budge. I don't want to move. I'm good. I'm good here. And Uranus comes in and says, well, actually, you got to get moving. There's been other cycles happening, other energies opening up. And I want to ensure that you're maintaining the right frequency connection to those changes. And so Uranus is the awakening of the planet, literally the awakening of the 4 elements within Gaia to evolve and to stay connected to the evolutionary cycle that we're in. And then at an individual level, we each feel this through transiting Uranus in Taurus in your astrology chart, requiring you to make changes that are chaotic and disruptive and jolting in order to give you a kick in the pants to get moving and to make sure that you're not becoming too lazy, lethargic, or stuck. And now in 2024, Uranus in Taurus has reached 27 degrees of Taurus. And this is where the energy is knocking on the front door of the Pleiadean star cluster. The Pleiadean star cluster is composed of over 1,000 stars. It is also known as the Seven Sisters, and it is a star cluster that we can see with the naked eye, especially in the northern hemisphere from October until March. The Pleiades is located at the very late degrees of Taurus and beginning degrees of Gemini. Because it is 7 bright stars scattered across the sky, they stretch between different degree points within the constellation. That's why they are said to be spanning several degree points in the astrological wheel. So not only is Uranus in Taurus now starting to interact directly with the Pleiadean energy system, that means we are able to access more downloads from Pleiadean energies that support us in working with our planet. And I feel this coming through now. I feel this as these fast downloads and ways of harnessing energies that maybe you don't logically understand. Like all of a sudden you're just doing something, or you're trusting the energy, you're trusting the visuals you're getting. Maybe you are working with the energies with your hands. Perhaps you're doing some kind of physical body movement with your full body. Maybe there's a visualization you're getting. The Pleiadian energies are supporting us in harmonizing Gaia with the higher frequencies of the Pleiadian star cluster that is giving us new ways to work with the earth and to care for the earth. Pleiadian energies are known for being very compassionate and empathetic. They are also very sensitive. And so this could feel like you're very sensitive to energies in a way that you didn't realize before. There's a heightened sense of intuitive abilities where you can read more of the energies. You can tune into the elements. And when I'm saying elements, right now they're giving me the visual of the very base example. So I'm seeing dirt, like a speck of dirt, and how that, of course, composes some of the earth element. They're showing me a drop of water and relating it directly to Dr. Emoto's water experiment. And perhaps you have heard about this, about how his water crystal experiments consisted of exposing water to various energies, words, pictures, music, and then looking at how that influenced the water molecules themselves. They're saying this is a key of working with the elements. You go to the very baseline understanding of what that is. And so he's showing me that working with the ocean, which is a vast and overwhelming amount of water to connect with, requires us to go to the very base of a simple water crystal and to give a small portion of that water element love, peace, calm, compassion, and it then spreads. And that's how the energy can move quite quickly. So if you're overwhelmed by the vastness of dealing with flooding, a typhoon, or any big water movement, they're saying that it's about working with the basis of the energy that is actually quite effective. They're also saying that many talented earth workers are going to rise up and be leading this effort, that it can be quite private and behind the scenes, but that it's something that many people want to contribute to because it aligns with their belief systems and with their power. Now, going back to the connection with the Pleiadian star cluster, they're showing me that we're going to start receiving more off-planet awakenings that will, of course, seem bizarre at first, as all awakenings are, right? And they also say we're going to be having home planet recalls where you might have one of those very faint dreams or impressions or something come through around how you dealt with elements on other planets or in other lifetimes. They're also bringing me back into ancient timelines before modern recorded history. They're showing me tablets, and these tablets have ancient etchings in them, but it's before Egyptian time. I know that can be a common visual we get as hieroglyphics from Egypt. This is earlier than that. And it feels like, I believe it's pronounced cuneiform. It's Babylonian or Sumerian. It's really ancient. And there were some modes of working with the elements that were documented. but haven't been translated yet. In fact, they're showing me a tablet frozen in ice. And I don't know if that's literal or if it just means we haven't de-thawed it. We haven't translated it yet. So there's going to be more downloads for those who want to receive this guidance about how to enhance their Earthworker capabilities, where you feel drawn or perhaps a niche or specialty, as well as feeling supported. And they're saying that's another thing that's going to be coming in here over the next few years, is that you could feel very supported in this line of energy work, and that there will be new modalities being shared around what it means to be an earth worker and what it means to work with the elements during this time. They are saying that mass consciousness is essential, that the more who contribute, who believe, and who practice, the more powerful it will be. And that this is essential, and to remind yourself you're not alone in this, but the ability for it to work with mass consciousness is important because of how the energy will then dissipate around the globe and be much more powerful. So as Uranus and Taurus reaches 27, 28, 29 degrees of Taurus, there's going to be more awakenings, developments, and opportunities to work with the planet from a higher consciousness and with more empowered energy. Now, the next thing they're showing me is that another important factor at this time is transiting Sedna in Gemini. Sedna is a dwarf planet located way beyond Pluto in the Kuiper Belt, and it takes Sedna over 11,000 years to orbit the sun. However, Sedna is now back on the approach to Earth, where she will get closest to Earth in 2076, and the last time Sedna was closest to Earth was back in the Neolithic Ice Age period, so over 11,000 years ago. Now, Sedna has just entered Gemini as of April 2024, and because Sedna moves so slowly through each astrology sign, she hangs out at each degree point for an extended amount of time. Now, for perspective, Sedna was in Taurus from 1966 until 2024. Now she will be in Gemini until 2067. And the myth of Sedna is one that is quite heartbreaking, but demonstrates her significant power. There are, in fact, many versions of Sedna's myth, and so I will just offer one that touches on the common points of her mythology, which is that she was betrayed by her father, who did not want her to marry nor be a happy, independent woman. Instead of allowing her to be free and sovereign, he pulled her into his kayak and eventually pushed her overboard. And as she clutched on to the side of the kayak trying to save herself, he sliced off her fingers, which became the sea life in the ocean. Her fingers became the dolphins, the whales, the sea lions, the Arctic life of the ocean, and she sank to the bottom of the ocean. And what transpired next in the mythology is that she became very powerful in ruling what lies beneath the surface, beneath what we can see in the ocean. And her power became so great and so mighty that she became known as a powerful entity that only certain shamans could connect to and speak with. Her power was known for destroying sailors and their ships if they did not receive permission from her to sail or to hunt. She became the ruler of the vast ocean, and it was required to receive her blessing in order to have a safe passage or to hunt and feed, especially for one's family. Now, again, there are many versions of Sedna, but these are the main points. And it's important to note here that not only is she connected with the depth of the oceans and all the mammal life in the oceans, but her consciousness runs deep. It runs much deeper than we understand, and we have to go deep into those internal trenches of the mind to face fears or to understand what we're truly navigating through. As a side note, I have a separate video for you on YouTube discussing Sedna in Gemini. It's called Sedna in Gemini, a slow ascension journey of consciousness around our new communication abilities and human evolution. So do check that out if you want to learn more about Sedna and what she means now that she has entered into Gemini, the first air sign of the zodiac. And a simple way to understand it is that she's requiring us to go deeper with our communication abilities, how we think and ponder, understanding there's more below the surface. What lies beneath takes time to reach, to learn, and to understand. So there is a new depth of human consciousness that we're being required and invited into. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up Sedna in Gemini is because she is at 0 degrees of Gemini, and she is exactly conjunct 2 of the stars in the Pleiadean star system. Pleione is at 0 degrees of Gemini, and so is Alcyone at 0 degrees of Gemini. So here we have this Sedna asking us to go deeper into our capabilities to truly understand what lies within us that we are accessing that connects directly to this Pleiadian star cluster, and that our brains are being deeply reprogrammed with new intelligence, new understandings that are outside of typical human rationale, that we're being challenged to step into a new level of our consciousness power that we haven't had access to until Sedna reached the 0 degrees of Gemini and is conjunct these 2 fixed stars in the Pleiades. So one of the very first things I'm understanding here is that we have new multidimensional communication abilities that we're learning to trust and work with, that we're understanding that we're capable of this, yet we haven't been here before. We're trying to figure it out, and we're trying to believe that it's real. And they're telling me that you can believe that your power as an earth worker is opening up, and that you can believe that your multidimensional powers to communicate with the elements, to communicate directly with all 4 elements, is expanding because of how you saw Hurricane Milton start at a category 5 and be actively downgraded to a category 3 because thousands, if not millions of people stepped into their power to work with the energy of that hurricane. And they're saying to use this as a visual demonstration of your collective power. So we have entered into new territory that is allowing us to own our multidimensional communication skills with the consciousness of the 4 elements. And they're saying there are many ways to do this. There isn't one way. However, it is important to be intentional, to be clear in what you are harnessing and connecting with, and that the consciousness of the 4 elements is also learning and growing in new ways. Now, that it's essentially a 2-way dialogue. It's a 2-way street. So the consciousness of the earth, water, fire, and air are also being elevated during the energies of this time and allowing for an opening to certain frequencies, because I'm seeing that each of these elements has imprints and memories of destruction, abuse, and harm, where they have been used against their will for certain agendas or projects, experiences that they didn't want to be a part of. It's very interesting here, but the consciousness of all four elements is seeking greater harmony, greater connection, greater love, and a higher outcome that can only truly come about through the human and nature union. And as I'm saying all this, of course, I'm getting the visual of the Ents, those trees from the Lord of the Rings movies and books. This is part of ancient wisdom. This is part of different forms of consciousness on the planet. And if that seems too weird for you, then that's fine. Just trust whatever resonates for you. But all four elements have sentient being consciousness to them. Okay, so now I'm being pulled back to this energy at 0 degrees of Gemini, where not only is Sedna opening up this energy, but Uranus will be opening it up as well, starting in July 2025. And that will bring in even more innovations, solutions, technology breakthroughs, as well as science experiments that will show up through the four elements. This energy also continues to bring a focus to the water, ocean, tidal movements, rivers, shorelines. You get the picture, because not only is Sedna being activated here, but we also have both Saturn and Neptune moving through the final degrees of Pisces in 2025 and 2026, which is also connected to the evolution of the ocean. And Pisces is ruled by Pleiadean, god of the sea and king of the sea gods. So the water element is going to continue to be a strong force that we will be working with over the next few years. There will continue to be strong water events, including storms, flooding, hurricane, typhoons, beach erosion, earth changes, and more, all from the powerful intensity of water movement. So this will be an area of work for all earth workers who choose to work with the water element. And again, they just keep bringing my attention back to the experiments by Dr. Emoto with water. And so perhaps that gives you some inspiration or insights into how to work with the water element intentionally and powerfully. And one final message that they want me to reiterate is that when you're working with one of the four elements, you call in the other three to help with the energetic balancing of that one element that is in overwhelm or overload. And so when we look at water, then we bring in the stable, grounded, absorbing nature of earth to provide a base and a foundation that allows the water to dissipate and to calm. You bring in the energy of fire that can evaporate and dry out excess water, similar to allowing a wet towel to dry in the sun. The heat is going to support the excess water, and then air comes in to potentially dissipate and unravel that force of water. And I'm seeing it work in the opposite fashion. So if the water is moving clockwise, then the air can work counterclockwise. And the air element injects a consciousness and a movement that helps to dissipate the water element as well. Of course, I'm just trying to explain this in a way that makes sense, but go with whatever you're feeling, whatever you're getting. And also know that I'm not speaking scientifically. I'm just providing visuals. But this is part of our next level awakening, our next level healing, and our next level spiritual gifts, is that we are now rising up into what it means to be an earth worker, to own it powerfully, and to know that we have multidimensional support for guidance, information, and solutions that we haven't accessed before. And now, after sharing all of this with you, I am hungry and exhausted. So I'm going to say that's all for today's show. I need to go ground myself again, as well as get some protein for all the energy that just moved through from these higher dimensional sources. As always, I hope this supported you and gave you insights into anything that you are feeling or experiencing at this time. Of course, I always honor each of you as a master and as someone who is traveling with us during this grand evolutionary journey. Thank you so much for connecting with me. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for another podcast episode, and wishing you the very best in the day ahead. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.